Hey guys, thanks for tuning in. So today we're going to be checking out the Chaser FPV racing drone, 250 size racing drone from FEILUN. So FEILUN, I did do a review on a really cool boat of theirs. I think it was the FT-012 or something. I believe that was the name of it. I've got that review down in my channel as well. But I've only reviewed one thing from them previously, and it was that high-speed brushless boat, and that thing was awesome for the money. So it really excites me to see that they're getting into FPV drone racing, and this one looks like it may be kind of an all-in-one kit contender. They do offer a few different ones. They have an RTF version, but I think this is the almost ready to fly version where you have to add your own controller and receiver, and everything else is installed, like the video transmitter and the camera and stuff. So we're going to unbox this thing, give it a quick thorough inspection, go ahead and install the receiver if required. You also need a battery, I believe, in this kit. They don't provide a battery. And then I'll do another video where I take it out to the park and do kind of a line of sight little flight, bring a couple of batteries and do a line of sight, as well as go ahead and record the FPV and get the FPV and how that looks while it's flying. So that will be in the next video, but this video is all about the unboxing and inspection and setup. And don't forget that if you are interested in this guy, I will have the link down in the description where you can click on and it will take you to the product if you're interested. But anyway, let's go ahead and unbox this thing. Just going to spin around the box real quick, and it just shows you some dimensions, some different shots of it there. And then on the back, it just kind of tells you a few of the different options. The factory version kind of comes with everything. It's kind of an RTF. And this is the standard version, I think, where it comes with everything except the battery, the receiver, and the controller. And then the optional equipment here, and then all of the functions. And it looks like it's coming with 5-inch propellers. So let's go ahead and, without further ado, open up this box and see how it looks. All right, cool. So here it is. Okay, so first thing on the top, looks like we have a Velcro strap and something else in there. We'll open that up in just a second. Let's go ahead and take off this top piece. Got this little box here. Let's see what's in this box. Cool, so those are propellers and a little Allen wrench. Whoa, that's weird. That's just like a little pin. We'll go ahead and see what that's for. That's just like a round metal pin. And here's our 5-inch propellers, 45-degree pitch. So 5x45 propellers. And let's go ahead and pull out the Chaser real quick. It's just got these boxes on both sides of it. And something else is in that box. Oh, cool. So they're also giving us a gray propeller set. And they're branded as FEILUN, and these are also 545s. So 2 sets of 545s, highly welcome. Always nice to have extra propellers. And then the bottom is just cardboard as well, and then all we have left is our instruction manual. Alright, cool. So putting the main box aside, and I want to open up this bag to see what's in here. I'm not really sure what's in this bag. Okay, so we have a few screws. Looks like we have 4 screws, and I'm assuming, yeah, this looks like it's kind of a camera mount. That's interesting because this looks similar to kind of the F2, Walkera F210 type of camera mount where you can put it on separate. Looks like it's got some rubber dampers here with a Velcro strap for your camera. And I'm not sure where that's going to connect, but we'll find out in just a sec. Just want to kind of inspect the quad really quick. So as we can see, the carbon fiber looks pretty good. It looks like it may be a combo glass carbon, but it looks like it's fairly pure carbon actually. And these arms are thick. This is like 3 to 4 millimeter arms here. And FEILUN branded motors, 2204 2300 kV motors there, brushless motors with these nice propeller caps on. I like these small little cone-shaped ones with a little wrench hole for tightening purposes. And it looks like the wires pop in underneath the arms and go nice and tidy, tucked away, sandwiched in this carbon fiber box here. It looks like it's going to be very durable, and that goes all the way around. Then we have the battery strap. Looks like we can fit in like maybe a 1300 4S in there, no problem. XT60 connector on the back, 3 LED light strip on the back here as well. 1, 2, 3 LED lights. This is going to be our FPV antenna up top, and we can kind of bend that around. Probably be putting a clover leaf on here first thing. Might test it just with this antenna on, just to see how this antenna does. And just kind of, I like this aspect of it, is they have a built-in anti-slip, a glued-on anti-slip pad. So something that kind of one-ups the Wakera is this thing's on there. It's stuck on there, so that's not going to peel off. You're not going to lose that. The Wakeras kind of have theirs just floating around that you have to put in, and that's kind of irritating. But these guys look like they've got a really good contender here. Let me just go ahead and see if we can get this canopy off. So it looks like you just push it forward, and it pops up, and it's held in by these rubber band straps, which of course you can also just unhook, which I'll do right now. So I'll just unhook that, and the whole canopy comes off nice and easy, and we can get a look at the internals. So there's our VTX. I'm not sure, but it looks like a 200 milliwatt 5.8 gigahertz transmitter. We have our channels we can change here. We can change our channels. It looks like it's a 32 channel. So that's good. Got a lot of different frequency options. And here is our connection cables to the board. So this is probably where our receiver is going to go up top here, and we're going to be plugging in our receiver here. So probably going to be putting in FR Sky receiver, like something that's compatible with my Tyrannus in here. So we'll be doing that in just a sec. And then here's the camera on here, the 600 TVL camera with a lens cap. I'm not sure what the degree is on this camera, but I'm thinking it's probably a little like over 100 at least. Oh, that's cool. So this one has some slots here to be able to move the camera back and forth. Now I don't know what this thing is in this bag. They just give this little round pin. I'm assuming maybe that's just to tighten the propellers. Just slide it through and tighten it, but they don't give any Allen wrench in here. Usually people have Allen wrenches laying around, and they're really cheap to pick up, so I'm just going to use one of my little 2mm ones and just loosen these 2 screws on the sides just a tad, so we can slide this camera, and let's see what the angle is we can get with this camera. So huge angle, so that's going up to like 60 or more degrees, so a really good capability of angle here. I really like how they did this thing, because it looks like it's going to be very sturdy, it's well protected, and you can really get a giant angle with this once you get really good, and you could be flying like, you know, almost totally vertical like this at a 90 degree, and the camera will still point straight. So once you start getting really fast, first starting out, you know, leave it level or just up from level, and then go ahead and tilt it as needed. So I'll probably be going somewhere in between the two, because I'm not super pro, but I'm still not a complete beginner, so I'll probably be going in the middle somewhere. And then flipping it over to the bottom, we're seeing the CC3D flight controller. Looks kind of integrated possibly in the whole power board here. Here's the connections for the camera, the LED strip, and the receiver here coming out of the flight controller. It's a pretty well done, all-inclusive deal here. It's nice and separated from anything on the top layer. You can see how there's no capacitors or anything in the way that it's going to get hit by that battery sliding around. So I really think it looks, from first glance here, this thing looks solid. You can see how it's a dual kind of box chassis here. Everything's kind of boxed in and protected, especially with this cowling over the top. It'll kind of protect everything nicely from crashes and bumps and trees and scrapes and all that kind of stuff. Big old capacitor on the bottom right there, and it does have one port that's open. Not sure what this is, but you can see that port there that's open on the bottom, maybe for like a GPS or something if you wanted to put another peripheral on there, since it is a CC3D board. But anyways, so far highly impressed with FEILUN's. Seemingly, I think this is their first delve into a racing quadcopter, and this one looks solid with the carbon fiber, aluminum braces in between, countersunk screws here. I like how everything's out of the way. They've got that battery strap here. The battery anti-slip pad is all integrated. I forgot to mention as well, there is the micro USB plug-in to adjust the flight controller settings in the CC3D board. On the other side of the board here, it looks like we've got a little switch, on-off switch. So that could be to turn off and on your LEDs, probably. If you want to switch that off and on, if you don't want the LEDs on. So very impressed so far. This looks like a solid contender. Everything looks very solid and well protected. And I really like that that new look they have with this little canopy design. It makes it look different and sporty. So looks like they're on the right track. So as far as the camera mount, the GoPro camera mount, it does in fact look like they pulled this kit off of like a Walkera F210 camera kit here for the Walkera. So I guess you could maybe retrofit your own little mount on top here somehow by I don't know, screwing or tying into the top if you wanted to. Or you can actually, it looks like you can take this bottom plate off, and then this top part of the top of the chassis has these little holes in it that actually look like they match up pretty much exactly to the way these rubber dampers are configured. So not sure how that's going to work. You may have to move some stuff around, and you're not going to be able to really fly with the canopy on if you do use this mount here, unless you somehow maybe stick the Velcro through the canopy with some slits in the canopy. So that's a little bit of a con. You can't really put a camera on this thing comfortably with the canopy, and the canopy is what makes it look really cool, I think. So I guess you could retrofit, you know, something like that, so the camera's going to stay on top, but this thing's going to slightly be moving around because it's just held on by a rubber band there on the back. So I don't think I would trust that to hold on a heavier camera and the whole canopy. So let's go ahead and get the receiver in here, bound to the Tyrannus, and configure the flight modes. Alright, so the receiver I'm going to be using for this build is the FrSky D4R2 receiver, and this is a really good all-around receiver. I think it's around $20 to $30. You can buy just about anywhere, eBay, online, anywhere, and find them. I will have them linked to the under the video of where you can get this quad as well, if you wanted to pick up this receiver. What I'm going to be doing is linking this receiver and connecting it up to my Tyrannus. So you may be familiar with the Tyrannus Plus, maybe not, but it basically has a bunch of model memory, really good transmitter. I'll also have that linked in the description as well, if you have this ARF model and you wanted to follow this build. But basically I have to give Sebi Daki some credit for this. I went ahead and followed his tutorial on how to hook up this receiver, since I did have one of these laying around, and it seems to work well. And so you can unplug this one, leave this one unplugged, and you can see this plug in here, how it's like the longer white plug here. And this is the one you want to use if you go this route with this D4R2 receiver for the PPM connection is what we're going to be using. So this kind of elongated white plug here that's plugged in, you want to take out all the pins except for the gray on the end here, and on the other end you want to leave the black at the end and the red that's one in from the end. So everything in the middle is out, and you can separate those just by like an X-Acto knife, and you just pull up the pins and slip the wires out. Really easy. And then on the other side of the cable, that cable is going to be connected to a bunch of these servo cables, and so what you need to do is just make yours look like this. all you got to do is switch out this gray one here. So I think there was a white one in here, and I took the white out of both ends, and then I just put that gray from that larger connector where it's coming from into the entire right side of this. So on this guy you're going to have a gray, which will be the signal wire on one end, and then you'll have the red in the middle and the black, which is the ground. So positive and ground on the end over here. Alright, and the way you connect it to this guy is to use CPPM on this receiver. Is you've got to put the jumper in all the way on this side to bridge channels 3 and 4 signal here. That puts it in CPPM mode. And then the connection, all you do is you're plugging it in to channel 1. So if you're, the way this is working is, if you're looking at the top of the receiver here, and you're seeing the graph here, that's basically how you would be looking at it if it's turned like this. So the channel 1 is this top rail, and the channel 2 is the bottom rail, which we're leaving open the bottom rail. And I think the way I'm going to be doing it is I'm going to be, since I want to be tilting my camera up pretty high, I want to have the ability to tilt it up high. I'm going to be sliding this in all the way under and just sticky taping it into the under of the inside there, just so there's some room on the top, just in case I wanted to mount a camera. I know it's going to be kind of hard to put the camera on with the canopy on there, as I mentioned before, but just in case, I don't want to have this receiver on top. Okay, so I just want to make sure this camera will slide back and then push up the receiver up into the top there, nice and tight, so it's not going to move anywhere. Alright, so the receiver's all mounted up, and this is ready to go, so I'm just going to power it up. I'm going to go ahead and link Sebidaki's video in the description of this video. He does a pretty good job at showing how to connect the craft to OpenPilot. I will have the links down there of where you can click on to get that information. So if you do have the almost ready to fly model like this and you need to do all this stuff, just go ahead and click on that link and follow his instructions. You just need to basically download OpenPilot, connect it up to the CC3D flight controller through this mini USB connection here, or micro USB connection, and go ahead and do the basic setup wizard and just configure everything to your transmitter, just what the flight modes do, and you can adjust all those settings if you want. I've made a couple other videos on the setup on different quads. I'm not going to go through it on this one, but go ahead and give Sebi's video a look if you need to for this one, and he'll show you how to set all that stuff up. Okay, so what I decided to do was just take one of my little 3D printed antenna mounts here. It's got sticky tape on the bottom, and they come with these little antenna tubes. You can buy these on eBay, and I'll go ahead and link those down in the description as well. And it's going to go under the canopy, and then I'm just going to poke a couple holes in. And the way I did that to get the template to poke the holes is just put the canopy on and then just scrape it back and forth a few times. Just wiggle it. And then what will happen is you'll get a couple of notches on the bottom here. You can see those notches right here and there. So I just want to basically poke some holes in there. Probably just drill it with a drill real quick, since I got one handy here. Just kind of out at an angle that the antennas are going. Doesn't have to be very big. I want it to fit kind of tight, so. Okay, so I did go ahead and push these antennas through the top cover here, just to give it more of a solid fit. It's probably not going to open up quite as easy. These are going to have to like slip out, so I may enlarge these holes just to make it open up a little easier, because it's kind of stuck now. But I think it looks pretty good. These antennas should do pretty good. They're they're out in like a Y formation, and they're sticking way out there, so it should get some good range with this guy here. And everything's nice and tight. So let's go ahead and boot this thing up and see how it controls real quick. So let's just go ahead and make sure this thing's going to work before we go ahead and fly. Okay, so the default settings on this one are, if you push the right stick all the way to the left, roll, it will arm. And there we go. So I did the configuration in the Open Pilot. It's pretty self-explanatory. Again, I'll have Sebi's instructions on how to do that linked in the video description. But it seems like it's working great. What I did was I went ahead, and I'm probably going to need to put some speech settings on this, but I went ahead and this toggle here, this is going to be self-leveling mode, where while you're flying it's going to fight to get back to level if you have this pitch and roll stick centered. And then I have this one here is Ratitude mode, kind of like horizon mode, where it will self-level, but you'll also be able to do flips. You'll also be able to go all the way around in a circle if you hold the pitch or the roll. You won't be able to do that in the regular attitude mode, which is all the way up here, the way I have it configured. So attitude, ratitude, and then all the way down here is going to be the rate mode. So no matter, let's go ahead and arm this again. So no matter where you're at, it'll just keep going, and it'll stay in that direction until you push the stick the other way, which is basically acro mode. Alright, cool. So I know everything works there with the controller the way I have it configured. And the Tyrannus is really cool. You can basically, once you set up your model, you can name your model, and then you can go ahead and put the sounds in it. Just to give you an example, here's another model I have done recently. The Armatan 130 RXR that I did like a couple weeks ago. If we go ahead and change to that model, see how it talks to me now. So I have the same modes, but in all the way up is normal. Actually, I have this switch. I have this switch for that quad for some reason. But so all the way up is normal, which would be basically attitude mode or self-leveling. This is the horizon mode or ratitude mode. And there's our acro mode. So I'll go ahead and put those same speech settings into the configuration for this quad. Alright, cool. So let's throw the props on real quick. Like I showed in the unboxing, they give us 2 sets of propellers. We get some orange and we got some grays here. These are the 5-inch by, I think these are 45, yeah, 45 degree pitch. Okay, so it's up to you. You can put all fluorescent on if you wanted to, all orange, or you can put all grays on. It looks like they have 2 of each direction. And of course we just got to take off all of our motor screws first, motor caps, motor nuts, whatever you want to call them. And I would recommend, I mean, I know they're color coded and they only can screw on one way, but I would recommend when you're doing this, just keep them kind of near the motor they go on. It'll just save you a little bit of time if you forget where they go. So what we want to make sure of is that the propeller, the top leading edge, is spinning in towards the back on the back side, and whatever we choose for the propeller on the front, the top leading edge is going to be spinning in towards the front. So we don't want that top edge to be spinning in towards the sides. So just make sure of that. I think I'm just going to go all orange on this one since it looks so cool. So this one is reverse threaded, so this is going to actually tighten counterclockwise on that one. Then this one's going to tighten clockwise. So the silver ones are clockwise and the black caps are counterclockwise. And then don't forget to always stick some kind of a wrench tool in there and really crank these things down pretty good. You want to just kind of hold the motor and the propeller and give them a good crank, you know, finger tight pretty hard so they don't come loose when you're in the air. I just usually hold the propeller and the motor and then just give it a good seat like that, so it's really tight there. And then don't forget this rubber band. So this rubber band goes, it's like a double rubber band, and it goes around this little tab here, and then it goes all the way around to the other side. So it looks like this rubber band's probably going to break eventually, but at least it's just a rubber band, so you can use any rubber bands you want to hold that on. So let's go ahead and fire this up again and make sure the FPV works. Alright, cool. So I went ahead and found some goggles here. And by the way, these are the newer Quantum goggles. They're the version 2, and really good affordable goggle for somebody that's trying to get into FPV. You just have to bring in your own receiver and you can put your battery in there. And it comes with a bit higher definition screen than the version 1s. As you can see, it's really clear in there, and they have this really cool neoprene wrap on it that really fits nicely to the head. Probably gonna have to put a little bit of your own foam in here to make it comfortable. That's kind of the only downfall of these ones. But if you do want a really cheap set of goggles for, I think these are like around 60 bucks, but then you've got to put your own receiver in, which is, you know, like another 30 bucks. So for under 100 bucks, you can get these guys fully set up. But anyway, look at this. This is awesome. So we've got, we have screen, nice clear screen here, and this thing has an OSD on it. So this is awesome. So over on the bottom right, we can see our voltage. Bottom middle, we can see how long the quad's been on. Bottom left, it looks like what mode we're in. And seeing a tiny bit of lag, just a little bit, maybe like 100 milliseconds or less. Alright guys, cool. So I hope you enjoyed that initial unboxing, inspection, and setup of the FEILUN Chaser 250 pure carbon fiber race drone. It looks like it'll definitely be a good competitor for somebody that wants to get into the market here for racing. It's pretty much all in one. They do have a version that is ready to fly with the controller and receiver all in it. So anyway guys, I do a lot of reviews like this, and go ahead and check out the channel. I think you'll like it. But stay tuned for the flight test that's coming up. Don't miss it. So I'd recommend to subscribe, and I'm going to do a really thorough flight test on this like I do with my other flight tests. I usually do like a line of sight first with one battery pack, and I throw another battery pack and I tap into the FPV goggles and record. I'll be recording this, and so you guys can see what it looks like on the screen. I may switch out the antennas, or I may leave this one just to see how this one does, since I'm just going to be flying around the park. And see how this does. If not, I'll switch to like a cloverleaf and set and see how those do. But anyway guys, thanks a bunch for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.